young with our kids. The deal was, if you tell the truth.
Nothing to do with me. So I was like, okay, so
she shaved her head bald in the middle of her whip my hair tour, right? And I was like, oh.
I definitely had to forgive you and Daddy. It was mostly Daddy, because he was so, harsh.
Right out the gate, this clip lets you know the Smith family isn't just dealing with one scandal, it's dealing with a pattern. Willow just admitted, in her own words, that her career has nothing to do with her parents' connections. And online, that comment landed like a grenade, because for years critics have pointed out how much of Willow and her brother Jaden's early rise tracks back to Will Smith's name opening doors most teenagers never get close to. Add in the long-running, still unconfirmed rumors linking the family to Scientology, and you've got a household that fans have spent over a decade trying to figure out. Some call it overprotective. Others call it something stranger. Either way, Willow distancing herself from the Nepo baby label didn't end the conversation, it reopened it.
Very, very, very terrible mistake with our children, and we went with radical honesty. Don't do it. No, listen.
So here's the thing about Willow's self-made comment, it didn't land the way she probably hoped. Almost instantly, fans pulled up clips of her crying on Instagram, captioned with the lyric, "Who ate all the like?" And the internet couldn't decide if it was a vulnerable moment or just more proof that growing up in that house left its mark. And when you look at how Will and Jada actually raised their kids, it's hard to blame people for asking questions. Will has talked publicly about instituting what he called radical honesty in the household, a policy where Willow and Jaden could tell their parents literally anything without getting punished as long as they didn't lie about it. In exchange, Will and Jada say they were just as transparent with their kids about their own marriage, including their open relationship and non-monogamous lifestyle. On paper, it sounds like progressive parenting. In practice, critics have called it something closer to a social experiment than a childhood. And Willow's transformation from a 9-year-old who dropped "Whip My Hair" into a global pop moment to a teenager thrust into endless industry meetings is exactly where people say that experiment started to show cracks. Was it really about nurturing her talent? Or was it about cashing in the second the world noticed her?
Really young with our kids, the deal was, if you tell the truth, you won't get in trouble, right? The only way you can get in trouble in this house is if we find out you did something and you don't tell the truth. Wow. And it's a mistake. It's a mistake.
Once Willow's name started carrying weight, reports suggest Will leaned into it, using her sudden fame as a way to walk into rooms and meetings most child stars never get access to. Whether that was networking on her behalf or positioning her for the industry's attention is something fans still argue about today. And this is where things get messier. Because for years, singer and outspoken industry figure Jaguar Wright has made a string of unverified claims about the Smith household, alleging that young men who came under Will and Jada's so-called mentorship left feeling deeply uncomfortable. Wright has never provided documentation for these claims, and the Smiths have never directly addressed them. So take it for exactly what it is, one person's allegation, not a confirmed fact. But it's added fuel to a narrative that was already circling, that whatever happened behind closed doors in that house, it wasn't typical.
At the same time, this has been a journey for you, Miss Willow. How did you make this decision? With polyamory, I feel like the main foundation is the freedom to be able to create a relationship style that works for you, and not just stepping into monogamy because that's what everyone around you says is the right thing to do. So I was like, how can I structure the way that I approach relationships with that in mind? Also, doing research into polyamory, the main reasons why monogamous relationships, or why marriage, why divorces happen, is infidelity.
For somebody like me, it feels like it's really all just centered around
I'll give
sex.
you an example. Let's say you haven't always been the kind of person that wanted to have sex all the time, but your partner is. Are you going to be the person to say, just because I don't have these needs, you can't have them either?
Then there's the photo that still gets brought up more than a decade later. 3-year-old Willow lying on a bed next to a shirtless, 20-year-old Moises Arias, best known at the time for playing Rico on Hannah Montana. Arias posted it himself, captioning one version, Simba and Nala, a Lion King reference that only added to the backlash. The internet exploded with accusations that the image was inappropriate given their age gap. Jada publicly defended it, telling press there was nothing sexual about the picture and accusing critics of projecting. Reports at the time even claimed Child Welfare Services briefly looked into it, though nothing ever came of that. To this day, it remains one of the most debated images of Willow's childhood.
At the houses, she had her laptop, she would stick her hard drive in, right? Boom, and hook it up to the TV. And she could play whatever video she watching. So I'm seeing videos of her and Will and a bunch of some celebrities. So she's sitting down here watching, playing with herself, high as a kite, right? Not caring who's in the house, whether kids watching, nothing. She's in her own world. So that's how I was able to see the tapes. I saw them, and I saw some things that were unreal, and I saw celebrities on the tape.
Nothing to do with me. So I was like, okay, so she's just scrolling, and when I tell you I saw some of the most hardcore pornography on Tumblr.
Mom. It really wasn't.
It really wasn't. It was hardcore for you to be seeing at freaking 11 years old. Tumblr, I could not believe that.
No, Tumblr is more of the artistic aspect of it, though.
Not what I saw. Well, nothing artistic about that. I saw some.
I don't remember what you saw, but
yeah,
what
I remember graphically.
What I know about Tumblr.
I was like, Willow, and she's like, don't even pay attention to it. We're getting to my.
Around this same period, the family also began speaking more openly about their personal wellness journeys. Jada shared that she explored alternative approaches to improve her overall well-being during a particularly difficult chapter in her life, saying the experience had a positive impact on her. That openness eventually influenced her son as well. Jaden later explained that his interest in these topics started out of simple curiosity, and he was surprised by how much the experience changed his perspective.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
The 23-year-old added that he started using the drugs out of curiosity, and doing so led to his understanding of what ego was for the first time.
It was always in my head talking, telling me what I was and what I wasn't, and for the first time I had like a ego dissolution where I was like, that was the moment that really changed me.
At 23, Jaden described that first trip as the moment he truly understood what his own ego even was.
Haven't been smoking marijuana for 3 months. Just specifically THC. When I stopped smoking, it was a really big eye-opener, because I was like, there are so many people people that I called friends in my life who just kind of drifted away. You know?
Willow's personal journey has also included some challenging periods. She has spoken openly about developing habits that she eventually decided to leave behind in order to focus on her well-being. While working on her 2022 album, Coping Mechanism, she was going through a particularly emotional chapter in her life and later reflected on how difficult that period was. Looking back, she acknowledged that it wasn't the healthiest environment for her creativity or personal growth.
You said you couldn't interact with the kids until you'd taken a bunch of Scientology courses. And they were still supervised by the Scientology teachers to make sure they didn't.
Then there's the Scientology question. Something Will and Jada have denied being deeply involved in for years, even while admitting they were familiar with the church's teachings. But in 2008, the couple opened a private elementary school called New Village Leadership Academy and enrolled both Jaden and Willow as students. Publicly, Will framed it as a fun, alternative learning environment. Privately, according to multiple former teachers who later spoke to the Daily Beast, the school ran almost entirely on Ron Hubbard's studied technology curriculum, with staff required to take courses at Scientology Celebrity Center before they could even step into a classroom. The school's co-founder and former head, Jacqueline Olivier, has said she didn't fully realize what she'd signed up for until she was already inside it.
The thing I think that's messing everybody's head up is that all of this wild shit is going on right in front of their faces, and they're not understanding how they're missing it. Yet it's all happening right in front of their face. Like the Willow conversation, the Smith family conversation that we had.
In your face.
In your face.
Put out in your face.
I mean, there's multiple videos of this man forcibly trying to tongue kiss it.
Olivia and other former staff have described an environment where kids were constantly being audited and corrected under Scientology methods, with any slow progress blamed on the children themselves rather than the system teaching them. Willow would have been around 7 years old when she was enrolled. The school eventually folded in 2013 after parents outside the family caught on to what was really being taught and pulled their kids out. Will and Jada have maintained it was simply a business venture that didn't work out, but for a school built entirely around a controversial religious method, taught to children too young to understand what they were actually being put through, it didn't work out is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
looked at me. I'll never forget the look in her eyes. And she was like, "It doesn't matter to you that I'm finished, Daddy?" And I was like, "Well, yes, sweetie, it matters, but you can't be finished." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So we go back to the hotel, and Jada had just left, so I'm there. It's my first night of daddy duty. And she came out the next morning, and she had shaved her head bald. In the middle of her Whip My Hair tour, she shaved her head bald.